Hi there everybody, today we are going to look at averages from frequency tables. Alright, so we're going to go through the three different averages which you've come across. First of all we're going to look at mean, and then we're going to look at median, and then we're going to look at mode. Alright, so they're the three things, and this is quite a popular one from the GCSE perspective, so it's worth kind of covering certainly how you do the mean, but we'll cover the other two off as well because they're a little bit easier. Alright, so let's look for how to work out the mean from a table. So in terms of the mean, just kind of a recap, and again there is another lesson on this, but in terms of how you find the mean is where you basically find the average, where you add them all up and then you divide by however many numbers there are. Okay, again, if you're not quite sure about that one, please look at the other video in relation to that, but that's effectively what the mean is. So you add them all up and divide by however many there are. Okay, so when we're looking at a table, what this table does is literally summarizes all the information you've got. Okay, so when we're looking at this particular table, I'll just talk you through in terms of trying to understand it because it's worthwhile. So what we've got is like the number of siblings and then the frequency that happens. So I'm guessing what's probably happened is they've asked a bunch of people a question about how many siblings, so brothers and sisters, they've currently got, and of course they've answered. Some said none, some said one, some said two, some said three, some said four, and some of them said five. Some people have big families. All right, so there you go. So that's what this is all about. But of course what we're trying to figure out is where the mean is, what the average is. All right, and based on the idea of summing them up and divide however many there are. Well, looking at the data, you would expect my average to be roughly around in this middle area, because it seems to be the most people have around about 2, but of course it's kind of there's other numbers either side to kind of weight it one way or the other. All right, so how do we do it in terms of when we're trying to add them all up? All right, because what we've got is we've got 6 people who said none, 11 people said 1, 22 people said 2, 8 people said 3, 2 people said 4, and 1 person said 5. So if we're going to write down a big long list, I'd have 6 zeros, 11 ones, 22 twos, 8 threes, 2 fours, and a 5. All right, and I would have to add those all up and then divide by however many there are on that list. All right, so that would be the process, a long-winded process, but that would be the process. So how can I shorten it? How can I shorten it using the table? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to create another column. All right, I'll explain what this fx column is, but you'll see it sometimes written as fx, and all that really means is it's your frequency times by your variable. All right, and that's or sometimes called x in this case, so fx, that's what it stands for. So you're going to times those two things together, which is why it's called fx. All right, because when we deal with algebra, 2 letters next to each other, it means times. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that times that. The question is why? Okay, well, if what we said is we've got 6 zeros. All right, so if we're going to add up 6 zeros, it would be 0, wouldn't it? So 6 times 0 would be 0. If I was going to add up 11 ones, it would be 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, so it'd be effectively 11 times 1, wouldn't it? If I think about 22 lots of 2, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, it's 22 twos. So what I'm actually doing is I'm timesing these together, aren't I? So that would be a quick way. So rather than just going through the whole mammoth task of trying to write them all out, I'm adding them. A quick way, so I'll put another column there and just say I've got 22 twos, 8 threes, 2 fours, and 1 5, and then I'm going to get another column in here, which is going to help me add all the ones, add all the twos, add all the threes, add all the fours, and add all the fives in this column. All right. So times the 2 together. So 0 times 6 is 0. Even says there, doesn't it? 11 times 1 is 11. 22 times 2 is 44. 8 times 3 is 24. 2 times 4 is 8. And 1 times 5 is 5. All right. So that is all the 2s added together, all the 1s added together, all the 3s added together, all the 4s added together, and obviously the 1 5. All right. So that lot is my total so far of each area. All right, so if I want to add them all up, then I need to total this column. All right, so I'll come to that one in a second, but I need to total this column. That's the total number of siblings overall. Okay, so why is this column added here? Why have we added this one lot? Because actually this must be the number of people I asked the question to, because 11 people said this, 22 people said this, 8 people said this, so 50 people gave me an answer. All right, so 50 people gave me an answer. So what I've got is all the numbers added together and how many people I asked. Well, if I go back to the original question to find the mean, I need to sum all the values, that's the 92, and divide by the number of values, which is 50. All right, so that divided by that, and that's going to give me the mean. So the whole purpose of the table is to support you in trying to figure out the mean. All right, so 92 divided by 50 is going to give me my mean, which is 1.84. And then when I think about kind of a decent average, well, it seems to be around about there, which I mentioned at the outset, but obviously it's slightly underneath 2 as my actual average. Okay, so that's how you work out the mean from a table. All right. Please do go onto the maths-school.co.uk website and have another look and have a bit of practice of that. It is a technique. It is something worth kind of consolidating, and it's something that you will kind of come across more and more and more as you look at some exam questions. All right, so that's mean. Let's look at the median from a frequency table. So I'm going to get my table up in a second, but just to recap in terms of what median. Well, median is the middle value. All right, so if I write all my values in order, it's the one that appears in the middle. Okay. So you can find the middle value by adding 1 to the total and divide by 2, but we're probably not going to have to do that with this one, if I'm honest. You'll see what I mean in a second. Right, so a very, very similar graph, a table I should say, it's the same as before, ultimately. So how do I find the one that's in the middle? All right, so when I'm looking at the one in the middle, again, if I was going to write them all out, I'd have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 6 of them, 11 ones, following that, 22 twos following that, and so on and so on, and I'd have to try and find the one in the middle. But there's a bit of a quicker way of doing it. There are 50 people. All right, there are 50 people, okay? And if I think about the middle value, well, the middle value, if I follow this rule, if you add 1 and total divide by 2, is going to be the 25th and a half value. So in between the 25th and 26th, all right? But again, I don't need to worry too much about that one, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to count these numbers, all right, because what I've got is I've got 6 zeros, all right, so the first 6, that's not in my middle because that's my first 6. Then if I add 11, then that takes me up to 17. So I'm now up to 17 numbers, and remember I want to get to the 25th and a half number, but if I've had these two here, then I've got to the 17th number, all right, so you can see me adding them up on there. If I then start to write all my 2s out here, then it's gonna take me all the way up to 39 numbers in a row. So 39 literal numbers in a row. Well, surely in that set of 2s is my middle value. So it must be a 2. And so my middle value must be 2. Rather than writing the whole lot out, if I can just count there's 6 there, there's another 11 there, that's 17. And then when I add that lot, I'm going to get to my 39th number. So surely my 25th and a half number is going to be a 2. It's going to be a set of 2s, and it's going to fit right in the middle of there. All right, so I don't need to do the rest because it lies in there. So my median is going to be 2, all right, because it fits in this box here. All right, so that's all you need to do is just trying to think about, rather than writing them all out in a big long line, trying to think about, well, where's my 25th and a half value? It's going to appear in this section of 2s. Okay, right, let's have a look at mode and to find a one. Probably the easiest of the lots, so I can literally fly through this one, because the mode is the one that it appears the most. It's the most common, all right, and I've probably already kind of mentioned it in terms of what you would expect, but the mode is the value of the table, which is the highest frequency, all right. So looking at this one, well, which is the most common answer? All right, well, how many people said 1, 11, how many people said 3, 8, well, how many people said 2, 22? So most people said the number of siblings was 2, all right, so that is it. Effectively, so my mode is 2. Simple as that. Okay, nothing more complicated. Oh, well, that's it. So that's mean, median, and mode. Obviously, mean is probably the most complicated one in terms of what you need to do, and obviously progressively easier. We've kind of gone through median and mode. But by all means, please definitely go to maths-school.co.uk website. As I've mentioned already, the link is at the bottom, and do practice some of the content and kind of consolidate it. Okay, well, that's it for now. Thanks for listening.